Great morning, real estate and mortgage world. It's Todd Duncan coming at you with another Coffee with Todd. Today is a VIP extended interview day, and we've got two highly successful mortgage professionals lined up to have a conversation with our universe. First of all, we're bringing Chris Hallows on. Chris was on stage last year at the Leveling Up panel in Sales Mastery. And Chris, good to see you, man. Welcome. And you're with Wallach & Volk in Arizona, right?
Yep, Flagstaff.
Yeah, Flagstaff. Awesome. And just so everybody's clear real quick, last year, Chris helped 161 families for $46 million in fundings. Year to date, it looks like he's at 120 families for about $31 million. With all the contracts and locked refis, it looks like he'll come in at about 153 or so families for almost $42 million first week of July. That's exciting, dude.
It's good stuff. It's good stuff.
Good start. Good start. And by the way, just number one in branch production, number one in branch profit, and number one currently in the company in personal production.
We're having a good year. Being humble about it.
Virtual fist pump to the camera. Have you seen anybody just be like stupid on how they do fist pumps in the digital world? They come like fist pump, and it's not even on the camera. Fist pump.
Yeah, you gotta get
fist pump.
Nice. It's not your first one.
And then we're joined by Logan Martini. Logan Martini is an extension of the Martini brand. Kevin Martini, his father, has been on stage several times at Mastery, as has Logan. This is his second year in the business, and year-to-date 2020, Logan has already funded just shy of $42 million. His pipeline right now is knocking on the door of $13.5 million. And Logan, you're always a joy to talk with. It's good to have you on with Coffee.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So, guys, we're going to go for just probably half an hour or so, and I've got the guys just ready to answer a couple of questions. As is always the case, if you want to tee up a question, just go to the live comments box and put it up there. I'll gaze over there every once in a while and make sure we get these questions answered. So, Chris, I wanted to start off with you. I think that one of the keys right now in differentiation in the market is the discipline around realtor business, purchase business, and the refi business. You're doing some really stellar things with your agent partners and whatnot. And you made a comment that it's a perfect time to do it because no one else is doing it. So talk to us about what you're doing in your local market right now with your agents to really disrupt the market and do something that none of your competitors are doing.
Thanks, Todd. Yeah, everything that we're looking at is really, comes down to good, better, best. And so that's where, when COVID initially hit, it's first and foremost, good to be showing up, better to, take advantage of refi or, connecting with folks. Cause I think like everyone, we were getting those calls asking for 0 to 0.25% interest rates from the Fed. So there's, better, but I had some really neat opportunities where I decided that, a lot of people were getting caught up in the noise and the fluff and maybe really, emotionally in what's happening. And I don't want to disclaim, I guess full disclaimer, I don't want to discount what's going on in different markets in different areas of the country where COVID is certainly a bigger deal than in my particular area. But when a lot of people, it hasn't really hit very aggressively here in Northern Arizona. So when a lot of my peers were jumping out there and posting, more kind of feel good stuff, I felt it was my responsibility to really just focus on how the mortgage industry was changing. What's the rubber hit the road on programs? What's changing out there with, can we actually close loans? Can we record loans? So I took it upon myself to call my county recorder. I took it upon myself to, talk with my CEO about how's our pipeline looking? Where's the disruption is going to happen? And then doing one-on-one calls, as well as then I do a monthly mastermind call where we do Zoom with, I invite about 30, 40 agents, get typically about 18 to 20 on the call. And then we're recording and sending that out to help people know, hey, here's what you can do. Here's where you need to differentiate in the market and gain market share in this opportunity and make data-driven decisions, not just emotional. Some realtors are putting out, cooking videos out there where it's like, hey, people just really want to know, can they record and close a home loan and how can they get that done? And I got a lot of feedback from our realtor partners on saying, hey, no one is telling us this, that was really valuable for them to tell families where it counts.
Yeah, for sure. And I think you guys, one of the things that is absolute truth, and I believe this to the depths of my soul, is most of the lenders in the world are not focused on what they ultimately need to be focused on. So that is not to minimize how great the market is in terms of rate, where people can borrow money today versus just 5 months ago, 6 months ago. And it looks like for the foreseeable future, we're going to have an attractive rate market. But what we do know 100% is the longer an attractive rate market goes on, generally speaking, not all the time, but generally speaking, the less loan originators and their teams actually are interacting with their realtor partners and their local influences. And so when you're able to do something that nobody else is doing, you have that disruption differentiation, and people will actually flock to you. The other reason to do this is that, I've been in markets as a loan rep where rates go up 200 basis points in a day, 300 basis points in a day, and they stay there. And the time to re-engage your realtor business is not when something like that happens. It's now. So great remarks. How are you handling? Your number one branch, number one LO. You got all these great accolades. And by the way, I want you to tell a little bit of your story, because just 3 or 4 years ago, it wasn't like that. But what are you guys doing right now to from a leadership standpoint to really help your ops team win and really help deliver still in the market we're in a brilliant consumer experience?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. It's and again, full disclosure, we're trying just like everyone else, so we're not nowhere near perfect. There's that ideal in reality, and I'd be doing a disservice if I didn't set the groundwork to say, dialing into you and actually starting. I'm on my second year of now high trust coaching with Hope. Hope is my coach. Good shout out. She is stellar, and that was especially working with Hope. I find like a lot of different leaders. I loved the Rick and Mike interview last week, as I drew so much from that and would echo so many things. But I think I tend to care a lot, and that led us to making decisions that weren't exactly data decisions. So working with Hope and setting the groundworks over the last really 12 months, so that we were being a high trust, attractive brand to bring on 3 new loan officers. We didn't actually have to bring on a whole lot more support staff, because we had highly trained people ready to handle that volume, so that we're bringing in a high quality experience. And even they'll bring on new LOs that have different processes, they're channeling through the same LOAs that have been with us for 5 to 10 years. And then really focusing on data-driven decisions, and kind of, even though it's a good time to have emotions on our sleeve, it's also an important time to be data-driven and a little bit, I hate to say emotionless, but looking at numbers and saying, okay, we can scale this LOA, and where can we put more business so that this takes stress off of this LOA, and really just being a team from an entire branch standpoint is really where we've helped to scale that volume without too much pain and without having to bring on too many new people or train. We have brought on new people, but have really worked to make good hires that have been huge opportunities for us. So we have hired a new processor to help with the volume that we're doing, from a branch level, doing on average about 20 million right now. So we have 3 processors, just give metrics here, 4 LOAs, 2 additional admins, and we're doing that business then with 9 loan officers.
Yeah. Awesome. So one thing I heard on the video I watched last night was you had reported in, so this would have been October of last year, and you were in your first year of coaching, but that your branch profitability had gone up. I think you threw out a number, 361%. And just as a branch manager right now, talk about what does it feel like to watch your branch profitability grow by 361%?
It's, and I'd be doing a disservice if I took all the credit for that. It's been really, really neat to see that through the years we'd made some good hires. Those people were loyal. They were team players. Yeah. And we just, especially like our support staff was there and ready. They just didn't have, helping our current LOs, our existing LOs scale up a little bit, and then bring on some new LOs and building that high trust culture. Really was neat to just see good things come into play with the daily due diligences and the culture that we were building, to really see all of a sudden it's kind of like the field of dreams. If you build it, they will come. And it's really awesome to see that happening, and especially in this environment that now is just crazy and historic. And we'll all look back at this and just wish we worked a little harder. But knowing that we have the team in place to really help us maximize it, and that wasn't, that's hard to put in place today to hope you'll get it in 6 months from now. It was already in place.
So one of the things I know, Hope, and you were talking about is scorecard quality and file quality, and the importance of recognizing that you've got to manage not only the metrics, but you got to manage the recipe of how to manufacture good loans. So before we switch to Logan, talk to us a little bit about how High Trust Coaching and Hope has helped you really get this scorecard mentality kind of going. What's it look like? What's it feel like? How do you use it to lead?
Yeah, so we've really then, we focused on kind of a threefold, right? Loan officers design a file, LOAs and processors build a file, and then all that underwriters should do is approve. Say, all right, you designed it, you built it right, and you're done, right? And then it just flows through underwriting, and that's where we are able to really separate duties and say, okay, is that a design piece, a build piece, or an approved piece? And things shouldn't go back up the assembly line, right? It really needs to be an assembly line there. And then recently pushing out some initiatives. So we just pushed out with a scorecard of 4 simple questions. Did you basically give it enough time? Did you submit in a timely manner? So we have certain parameters on time. Did you explain the file? Did you also then do some simple worksheets on the LOA side of things before it's getting submitted, so we know the direction of the file? And the last piece, especially right now, is getting BOE information. And so, it's just a matter of doing those simple things where we have some rewards going out, and then we also have the bottom of the barrel is going to have to pay for their gift card for their processor, plus submit an improvement plan to me. So I think the idea is, we always look at volume and give big kudos to the high volume, but some of those high volume sometimes isn't the highest quality, and they also need to be rewarded, maybe a little shamed on knowing that, hey, we need to be good operators right now, because it breaks the chain.
Yeah. One of the age-old truths that I even use as the owner of our company right now in certain expense decisions and spending decisions, and what I used to do with originators across the country was, in terms of quality of a file, if you were writing the check to fund this loan, would you? And would you feel 100% safe and secure in writing a check for $200,000 and knowing that you're going to get paid back? Is that the kind of file that you have right now? And it was a really good early lesson for me. And it seems to be that you're talking about the same thing right now. You gotta do quality. Awesome. All right. Well, we'll come back to you, Chris, as we roll along here. So Logan, welcome, man. Martini Power.
No, thank you. First, let me say, Chris, that's awesome doing all that and having a new baby and everything. So during all this, that's kudos to you, man. But no, thank you for having me.
No, it's so fun. 6 or 7 years ago, I remember my first connection with your dad, and I remember him talking about you and that you might be groomed for the mortgage business. And here we are 6 or 7 years later. You're only in your second year, right? You started in 2019, standard purchase only. And many of those clients are obviously refining now. But the thing I found interesting about your little dossier here is, quote, and this is a Logan quote, "I didn't know how to even write a refi until February of this year." That to me is hilarious. And yet, you're cranking. I mean, you are absolutely cranking along. Year to date, looks like you funded $42 million. You have a pipeline of $13.5 million, and you are in the middle of your second year of being in the business.
Yeah, so, the pipeline's at 15 million today, but I'm pretty pumped about that. But yeah, I'm definitely double dipping on the refis, and I'm beating where I was last year for the whole year, and I'm just putting my head down and keep grinding.
So you're one of the greatest things for us in our organization is when guys and gals like you trust. Obviously the company is called I Trust. So we don't do anything that we don't want you to trust. And in coaching, you have to release the brakes, and you have to trust what the coaches are teaching you. And that's why, any of you, if you've never had a free coaching call with one of our certified coaches, you need to do that, because I was fascinated last night. I was watching a documentary on coaching, and it was featuring Elon Musk. And Elon Musk, of all crazy things that you could possibly imagine, has a brain coach. And his brain coach every single week helps optimize Elon Musk's thinking as an inventor, entrepreneur, business person. So again, hightrust.com, come there for the coaching free conference call and see what it might mean to you. What has that meant to you, Logan? I mean, you got your dad coaching you, you got, us coaching you and leading you. And all of a sudden here you are, you're going to knock on the door of 60 or 70 million this year. It looks like if halfway through the year, you're already at 42 million.
That's what I'm hoping the floor will be. But no, it definitely means a lot to me. I mean, I remember Kevin used to tell me, even Tiger has a coach. One thing, especially right now, I was, really lucky that my dad was a coach for y'all and, still coaches sometimes. And basically, he got into the mortgage business in 2009 and, he could, tell me some pointers and things like that for everything that's going on right now. It's saying, hey, we're still going to be a purchase business, but refis pay the bills, purchases will buy you a new watch. So definitely lucky to have him there and, all your stuff too. And another point to that with the high trust, and maybe Chris, will agree to this, is we were pretty groomed to do webinars and buyer consults online when a lot of lenders are, sounding like used car salesmen just going over the phone. So definitely was prepared to get into this situation and do everything webinar wise or, electronically.
Yeah. Well, we're going to talk about this, but you just gave me something that I wanted to mention. That one of the things that coaches help you with is what Logan just talked about, and that is the quality of the questions you ask. And one of the things when you come on for a free coaching call and you're in coaching is it's really not some patterned, let's go out and ask these 10 questions. It's not that at all. We're talking about, in the world in which we live, that there is a very deep need for two human beings to connect. So lender, agent, to connect. Lender, borrower, to connect. Agent, seller, to connect. Agent, purchaser, buyer, to connect. Connection, everywhere. And in the connection modality, there's an interesting thought process that there's two central elements that are sandwiched between chemistry, which is I like you, you like me. So we got to have that for a partnership to work. And then on the other side of these two things is conflict management. And that's not negative. It's any high performance relationship will always have conflict because you're innovating and creating. The two things in the middle are conversation and collaboration. So chemistry, that gives you the permission to have a conversation. Conversation yields deeper collaboration. And the more we innovate, the more we have to just manage potential conflicts that come along as we spin up the business. I am blown away that less than 1% of loan originators surveyed have a strategic questioning process to create influence with agents and with borrowers. And it's not how many questions you ask, it is the depth and the quality of the question. You look at the 80-20 rule and, I could go into any market as a practitioner of high trust and NOP certified and all that kind of stuff. I could probably ask 2 questions of every agent and get the business, where some lenders will ask 10 or 15 and not get the business. So how good are your questions? Talk about what you've been doing with your partnerships with agents. You have something cool, FaceTime dates. FaceTime.
Yeah.
Talk about that.
So all my partners, even this time, it's a good time to work on the business, not just in the business. So, I'm still saying, hey, just because I can't meet you at a restaurant or a coffee shop or even, just meeting you out or in doing, the high trust interviews and things like that. I invite, the agents, hey, let's just hop on a webinar, kind of like what we're doing now. And they're more open to doing the high trust interviews and, getting to know each other like this, believe it or not, than, hey, let's go meet at a restaurant and take time out of your day. And I think that's just awesome. And, even if the business switched that way, it's just going to, like you're saying, give us everybody more chemistry and more trust for our customers.
Yeah. And, everybody viewing this, if you have not watched the Teresa Odette and the Linda Granger interview we did last week. You got to watch that. It was so powerful to see what a real connected relationship looks like and feels like. And 2 weeks ago, we had Jim Moore on, who is Marty Preston's realtor partner. And these guys are talking about relationship that I think personifies loyalty, value, connection. And today in the world in which we live, we are not doing enough of that. So deep dive into, is there a regimen behind the FaceTime dates? Are you doing it once a week, every other week? Is it random? Are you simply making calls on FaceTime instead of the regular way? Unpack that a little bit, because that's a great idea for the market.
Yeah, definitely making calls on FaceTime because, right now, especially all the robocalls going on and everything like that, it's someone or someone you need to talk to if you just get a random FaceTime. Yeah. And I'm going, some are referrals, agents saying, hey, you need to work with Logan, or you need to work with Kevin, but basically I'm just getting on and saying, hey, I was thinking about you. I know times are tough. And how can I help you right now? And I'll scratch your back, you scratch mine. Who can I help you with? I got your back right now, even though times are hard.
Yeah. So here's a great idea for everybody, just to think through. So both Chris and Logan have been through the High Trust Sales Academy, and both know what I'm about to say as soon as I say it. But one of the things that I think is a very smart strategy for today, the moment we're in right now, is to set up FaceTime, Zoom, whatever, business review meetings with your agents. Figure out right now, in the month of May, the month of June, what do they need? Deeper questions equal deeper relationships. So what do you as an agent feel in the next 30 to 90 days you need in your business to continue growing it forward? And if you could just send out a meeting invite for 4 FaceTime calls over the next 6 weeks, and just have that agreed upon by them, and load your calendar up with your face-to-face meetings, whether we're using technology or a phone, which is technology or not, and start to figure that out now. Because here's what will happen. Let's say post-election, let's just say the market turns a little bit, refis start to dry up. Maybe they dry up a lot. Maybe they don't. Nobody knows, right? We're not in control. But what we are in control of is, how do we set up the partnerships today to win tomorrow? And that's where everybody's missing it. So what have you found? Like, I know what I probably think the answer is going to be, but what have you found happens when you're making these FaceTime calls? Define that.
Well, the funny thing is, in the beginning when I started doing it, you get to see how everybody's quarantined. So you're actually meeting the family. You are seeing what their dog looks like. You're seeing what their quarantine life is compared to yours. You're getting ideas of what to do when you're bored. But the most thing that I think everybody appreciates is that they're seeing how hard you're working, and you're not just a bank just saying, hey, I'm going to wait for the phone to ring. And I think they really respect that, because they're out there hustling. And I don't know about you guys, but there's a week or two where, they couldn't do an open house, or they couldn't go show a house, and people were literally buying houses just looking at the pictures. So they see who's putting the work in and who's not. And I think that will definitely carry over once all this passes over, because this too shall pass.
100% on that. Yeah, 100% on that. Before I get into another question with you, we have a user that asked, what is the most powerful question you ask? It's really interesting, because yesterday I was in our recording studio and I was recording the Connect session on asking questions and talking about the quality of a question. And then I recorded the listening lesson. And the interesting correlation between the question you ask and how well you listen is that's actually where the breakthroughs occur. And so most originators and most real estate agents do not have predictable questions that create influence. They're the normal questions. What are you looking for in a home? Blah, 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 blah. And they just kind of do that kind of deal, right? Tell me about the home you want to buy, blah, 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 blah. And there's nothing wrong with those questions, but to understand they don't differentiate you. All right. So the Facebook user that said, what's the most important question you ask? Imagine if every time you had an agent conversation, you asked this question. In the next 2 weeks, what are the 1 or 2 things I can do to help you win?
You got to hit the pain.
Done.
Yeah.
Just
done.
done.
And I like the other one too, that I get asked from my coach, you know, so I steal from your high trust coaching, but I guess I pay for it, so it's good. So, you know, frame it with the time frame. In the next 2 weeks, what is your greatest challenge?
Yeah. What are your greatest challenges in the next 2 weeks?
I like that.
What are your greatest challenges? Here's something that's really important, guys, to understand. And man, take this. If you're a leader, take this to all your LOs and even share it with your staff and team. And that is, we're in a world right now where you got to help people win, number one. And nobody usually in a general population can reject you if your purpose is to help them win. And it is truthful, it is honest, it is connected. So if I can help you win, then I've got to be able to help solve. And there's a fear in most people's minds that they don't have the answers to the questions that they're going to ask that present what they could solve because they don't know that they could solve it. And what I need everybody to understand is that if I'm going to help you win, I got to solve where you're losing. I got to come alongside you and help bolster up whatever it is that isn't working for you. And it's very interesting. I typed in something yesterday because I was interested in it on listening. Just typed it in, and it was like, what are the top behaviors of the best listeners in the world, or something like that. And in 0.9 seconds, I got 43 million sources on listening. I'm not going to spend, the rest of my life going through 43 million sources, but because I understand SEO, I can look at the top 30 and get some really great. So Chris Hallows calls me and he says, Todd, just checking in. I said, Chris, good to have you check in. Hey, over the next couple of weeks, where do you sense you have a business challenge, and how can I help you win? And Chris goes, I don't think I'm listening very well right now. I need to figure out the 2 or 3 things I can do to listen better. That's great, Chris, man. Do you have any hunch on what those things are? And maybe listen to that. And then at the end of the conversation, I go, so Chris, hang tight. Between now and the end of the day, I'm gonna do a little research. I'm gonna find 3 or 4 things that I think will make a difference in your life as a listener. Sit by, look for those, and I'm done. And what we have to do today is we have to meet people where they are. We do not have a blanket solution. We do not have a, go through this course and you'll be great. Everybody's got different needs. So that's what I think is most powerful about the dialogue that we're having. Just the idea that deeper questions, deeper relationships, it's going to all be about helping people win, bringing them value that works, and having confidence that that's the best way to build a high trust business. And what we do when you come in and test the free coaching system is we give you this track to run on. And I'll just tell you, as the owner of the company, the track that we put you on is designed to help you win, period. End of story. And if you follow the track, you will win, just like in business. If you follow the right principle and the right principally centered track, you will win. So we're at about a half hour. We got about 5 more minutes. Chris, what's the one thing you're most proud of this year? And what's the one thing you're looking forward to about next year?
Whew. Big questions. Yeah, the one thing I'm most proud of, and Logan kind of hit on that as well, is being able to, through coaching and through just my personal belief system, is to find balance in these times, to where, I have 4 kids at home, 4 and done, right? And, the 6-month-old at home, and to be able to, give in that area, to be here at, hitting it hard as I can when I'm at work. But really, I'm only doing like a 50-hour work week, which isn't terrible right now with the numbers that I'm putting out. And that starts in the early morning hours. And so balance, I think, is the key piece that I've really been able to hone in on this year, and to be as effective as we are at that balance is a big accomplishment for me. Humans don't do balance well. And I think what I'm looking forward to, I should say, as much as next year, that we're not resting on our laurels, that it's, we're redefining our why we are serving Northern Arizona, and why, do we need to grow? Do we like where we're at? And I think really honing in as a team to figure out where our future is collectively is what I'm looking forward to doing next year, and building, the people-driven branch that we have right now, not just on anyone's ego or goals.
Yeah, no, it's exciting to see what you've done, and I predict greatness. I predict that this time next year you're going to be way, way beyond where you already are. It's great to watch. So, Logan, same question for you. What are you most proud of this year so far, and what are you most looking forward to about next year?
I think I'll just answer both of them with kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Is one thing that I wish that was really strategic that we did, but it wasn't strategic. It's something that just really came from the heart, and I'm seeing the ball roll down the hill, grow and grow and grow. Is Jim McMahon and Stuart Hunter, Kevin Martini, Chad Fleming. I mean, I think us and our whole company, Benchmark, has really jumped on the VA train. And, I don't need to say the letters of the company, but there's a lot of people saying we're going to take care of our veterans that aren't. And for example, I literally just closed a homeless veteran who was homeless for a year because 2 other people saying, hey, we take care of veterans, never took care of her at all. And she had 800 credit score, easy close, makes plenty of money. And basically just that's going to keep growing, because there's nothing more high trust than a veteran telling a veteran, hey, this is who you need to use because these people messed me over, or things like that. So this year I'm really trying to focus on growing that VA business. And, even when I go meet a new realtor, I'm saying, hey, even if you don't give me every deal, please give me the VA deals, because we are the best at doing VA loans, and we are going to make sure they close. But next year, again, I want to see that keep going, because one, I think everybody needs to be a little more proud of America right now. And 2, next year will be 20 years from 9/11. So that's all those veterans coming out of, service and things like that. And, our company really wants to take care of them. So that's pretty much what I'm really excited about.
And you said, the VA business now is 20% of your book, right?
Yes, because you take care of them, they'll take care of you. And that's how, we're a family business. So that's literally what we're built on. So that's really what we're going to focus on. Good.
So we got what you're grateful for and what you're going to focus on all in one answer. That's beautiful. Well, guys, I sure appreciate you coming on. We limit these to 35 minutes. It's 34 past the bottom of the hour. Everybody from Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, obviously, YouTube Live. Grateful that Chris Hallows from Wallach & Volk and Logan Martini from Benchmark joined us today. These guys are knocking it out of the park. They're products of high trust coaching and a deep desire to win and help people win. So thanks, guys, for being on. Really, really loved having you. And thanks, everybody, for listening. Forward this to your team if they weren't on. You can share this with anybody that you have in your company. And Logan and Chris, can't wait to see you soon. And thanks so much for contributing.
Thanks, Todd. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, guys. Good seeing you.